Greetings, students of audio video technology. Thanks for coming along for this drive with me on this lovely Sunday morning. It actually looks a little bit rainy and cloudy right now, but it looks like it has the potential to clear up. This is the Volunteer Tech Vlog. My name is Nate, and I am going to talk about what happens after you turn your system on properly. So we've talked about mic level versus line level. We've talked about unity gain, phase, and polarity. We've talked about brainstorming ideas for a special event called Hollywood Game Night. Talked about properly labeling media. We've talked about how to turn your system on and off. And you know, one thing I didn't mention yet, I'll have to make another video on, is really understanding the signal flow. So even before you turn the system on and off, really understanding where all the inputs are and how they're routed. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I think we didn't really talk about signal flow in depth, but we talked about audio tie lines in a previous video, audio lesson video. So if you go to my Live Sound 101, the YouTube channel, and you click on playlists, you'll see the Volunteer Tech Vlog, and you'll see a bunch of playlists because I've broken up the video and organized it in ways so that you can click on the videos you want. If you want to watch the reports, you can see all the reports. If you want to watch all the audio related lessons, you can click on that. So if you click on the audio related lessons, you'll see a tie line example. So that really is the starting point to signal flow, is like knowing where the physical lines run. But then beyond that, once the physical lines run, just having a good idea of where the audio physically goes after that. So it's going to go into a piece of gear X, which is probably an analog to digital converter, and then the digital signal is going to probably go into a console or a snake or a computer, or you know, wherever it may go. And then from the computer, there's going to be a routing section within the computer where you can route audio back out of the computer, back out to outboard gear for processing, or you can route it to an aux group, or you can route it to master left and right, or master mono, whatever your case may be. You can route some of that signal to a subwoofer. You can route some of the signal to a broadcast mix. You could route some of the signal to wherever you need to route it, to an overflow mix, like we do where I do live sound. We've got an expanded seating area, and they need to have audio pumped in over there. So there are a number of ways you can route audio within your mixing interface. And then once it comes out of the mixing interface, it probably goes into, it might go into some sort of master EQ, or like a room EQ or digital signal processor, and then it might go back to an amplifier, and then the amplifier might go back to some speakers. And that's typically how a signal flow would go. So it's really important to understand the signal. So you turn the system on, you have a good understanding of the signal flow and how things go. And the reason being, you really want to have a good, wrap your head around that, is because when something goes wrong, you want to be able to think through progressively the different steps that the audio goes through before it comes out of the speaker. So if you know you're putting up the fader and you don't hear anything, say, uh-oh, why am I not hearing anything? What could be the problem? You go back, you look at the rack, and you say, hey, you know what? Our digital signal processor. Hey, our digital signal processor is not lit up. It's dark. Oh, you know what? Somebody turned the system off incorrectly, or they hit a switch they weren't supposed to, or something funny happened and a breaker blew, and I gotta flip this breaker. Oh, let me go flip that breaker. Okay, the digital signal processor's back online again. Okay, now let me try to put, you know, the fader up. Okay, now I can hear. So there can be a whole number of things that could go wrong. And that exact situation has happened to me before. And rather than stop the whole show and send the musicians off on a 5-minute break, if you have a good understanding of the flow, you can kind of think through that, and hopefully pretty quickly, you know, within 2 or 3 minutes, get the system back online again. Sometimes something more serious happens. But, you know, I really wasn't planning on talking about signal flow you know, a lot in this video. I was planning on talking about setting up the mix and everything, but you know, maybe I'll keep that for another video. We'll talk about setting levels and stuff like that. We kind of touched on that at Unity Gain a little bit, but now I'm kind of progressively thinking through, okay, what do I do in the morning? And what are the steps that I go through? So really having a good understanding of signal flow, I think, is crucial, so that you can keep everything coming in, so you keep everything up and running, basically. So that's that. I don't know, I might experiment with Periscope. I was, earlier this week, Dave Dolphin was on Periscope, and I saw he went live for the first time doing some tests. So I'm at work, sitting behind my computer, and I see that he's gone live. I'm like, this Periscope thing's pretty cool. Let's see what Dave's talking about. And I put in my little earbuds, and I'm sitting at the sitting at my computer, and I've got him in my ear, and he's just going through how he preps for worship. And I'm like, that is so cool, because he works at, like, obviously a much bigger church than I volunteer at, and he's the worship pastor, and he's got a couple roles I think he plays. But it was really cool to see what Dave was doing and the processes that he goes through. He talked about a ghost light. He talked about, and he's the guy from the Practical Worship blog. So check out Practical Worship and look for Dave Dolphin. He's got some good stuff out there. And he talked about why they use a ghost light to save power. He talked about cleaning microphones with Lysol. He talked about in-ear monitors. He had this whole rig where he wheels on a drum kit and wheels it off to save setup time and breakdown time and keyboards, and does the same with that. He talked about his guitar rig and how he likes to keep things consistent from week to week. So, man, I'm loving social media and just being able to connect and network with other church tech leaders and church tech volunteers from around the country. There's if you just go digging, there's a lot of resources out there. So Periscope, I don't know if I'm going to use it anytime soon. I did a couple tests with my daughter eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but the problem is I don't know if you'd be able to go look that up. I think after the Periscope is over, the live stream is over, I think the video goes away. Or unless you were in it live. Maybe if you're in it live, you can go back and watch it later. But I don't know, maybe do the live Periscope and then post to YouTube after. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do, because I think there's value in doing these type of walkthroughs and just doing exactly what Dave Dolphin did. I think there's value in that, and it would be shame if you couldn't access it later. So that I'd want to be sure if I was going to mess around Periscope. I think I like that idea that you can also access it later. But all right, it is 7:28 on this beautiful Sunday morning. I gotta go set up. See you in the next video.